ushers trying to remember which room they're in. Well, for me, this is, as we said, Father of the Bride 2, having done the honours for Sophie's twin sister Jane 2 years ago. So I have a slight sense of déjà vu and might have been tempted to recycle the same material. Shall I stand back here? Yeah, I have a slight sense of déjà vu. But yes, Father of the Bride 1 has been on YouTube, but fear not, Sophie, there's plenty more revelations to dredge up without repeating the same material. Twins are, after all, a constant source of fascination, particularly identical twins. Mary and I were never completely sure whether Sophie and her sister were technically identical. The hospital that delivered them said they probably weren't, while our GP said they probably were. So, a little while ago, we had the girls' DNA tested, as you did. With their concerns, I hasten to add. There are DNA kits available now, especially for testing twins. And the week this kit arrived, Sophie just happened to be having Jane over for dinner with their respective partners. So I got myself invited. Marion was doing something else, obviously more important than seeing her children. And instead of taking the usual bunch of flowers or bottle of wine or roast ice, I ended up with 20 mouth swabs and a couple of test tubes. We paid for an interesting meal. Pass the test tubes, please. Have another mouth swab. But when the results came back, the DNA markers for each girl, great long strings of numbers, were identical down to the last digit. So Sophie and her sister, the bride and her sister, are indisputably genetically identical, or monozygotic, as we say in HMT, on the street. So as babies, Sophie and her sister did look exactly the same to everybody but Marion and me. Face on, we always knew who was who, but when they were crawling around on the floor, which they probably still do when they've had one too many, not even we could tell them apart. So we did, well, I think what any sensible parent would do with their children in such circumstances, we colour-coded them. Sophie, it's perfectly true, Sophie in blue, baby rose, and Jane in red. Now, I know blue's supposed to be a boy's colour, but fortunately it doesn't seem to have done Sophie any lasting damage. Now this system worked perfectly well until our washing machine broke down, which it frequently did under the strain, when the girls would end up in unofficial colours. And all hell would break loose. I'd come home and find complete strangers crawling around. Well, fast forwarding 3 decades, earlier this year Sophie came home and sorted out some of her stuff, and she was interested to dig out a diary that she kept when she was 12, and rather to my surprise she suggested that there might be material in this diary for my speech. I couldn't believe my luck. Obviously Sophie thought there was nothing particularly embarrassing in this diary that she wouldn't want put into the public domain. Well, we'll see about that. At the age of 12, Sophie was very enthusiastic about things like sports, dancing, drama, and whales, the marine variety. But boredom also features quite a lot in her daily record, mainly as you'd expect in relation to aspects of school. In geography, for example, she says, "We saw some slides about deserts. Dead boring. I mean, I really want to know about deserts, don't I?" But it's RE that really gets the thumbs down. Today in RE we did stuff on Jesus' miracles. You could call that boring. I do. Not that Sophie discriminated against Christianity. With scrupulous fairness, she extended her boredom to any world religion that came her way. One week she did boring stuff on Islam. Another week she wrote stuff about a synagogue, in brackets, boring. Perhaps more worrying for Mary than me is that in one Saturday entry, Sophie says she got bored during lunchtime. So I'd like to apologise to Sophie here and now. for failing to provide adequate entertainment during lunch that Saturday in 1993. On the whole, Sophie is quite respectful about her teachers, with a few exceptions. She describes one of her new teachers as nice but a bit stupid. Her French teacher is spitting Mrs. She's not here, is she?
She did spit a lot.
If this goes out on YouTube, could the name please be bleeped out? I wouldn't want spitting Mrs. coming after me. A replacement geography teacher fares no better. The old bat babbled on about France with her belt undone. And there's a mischievous speculation about who our history teacher, Mr. is going to marry. There's a rumour it's Mrs. unlucky lady. Pubescence rears its head only occasionally. Sophie records that in IT she designed a poster that said in capitals, "No boys allowed except hunky ones." And in October she writes enthusiastically, "At last we started reproduction in science." We talked about all the naughty bits, etc. Well, turning briefly to Andy.